Diana had had 4 holidays that summer, 29 days on the Mediterranean. It was a month since she'd seen her children. But with August turning into September, it was time to head home to her sons. And then, on Wednesday the 27th, Le Monde newspaper published the article based on Diana's interview nearly 2 months earlier. It was expected to be innocuous, but one quote had the British press in a lather.
She said the policy has changed now. Now the new government has decided to stop and is going to forbid, the landmine. I think this is wonderful. I'm so happy with that. And I think this government is going to make a terrific work. Remember the word terrific. Well, the former one was hopeless about that. But, there was such a fuss after what I printed about that. But I think that was very important for her, and this was her crusade.
Diana denied the remarks, but few believed her. An editorial in Thursday's Daily Telegraph said she'd been caught on the wrong side of the political fence and accused her of emotional outbursts. The Labour-supporting Mirror newspaper, of course, loved it. Saturday morning, and Diana, under fire over both her politics and her private life, was now at the eye of the biggest media storm for months. As the couple arrived at Sardinia Airport at the end of their last holiday, the paparazzi were on their tail.
There were photographers at the airport, and by whatever means, the news got out that they were going to Paris. And when they arrived at Le Bourget, there were 8 photographers there. Now, the princess might have gone on in the plane to London, and they might have split up there. But she went into Paris. I think one of the reasons might have been that she was going to look at the rings.
At 6:30, Dodi walked out of the Ritz and across the Place Vendôme to collect a diamond ring from the jewelers. Later that evening, the hotel security cameras silently recorded him and Diana as they tried to dodge the paparazzi camped outside by sneaking out a back entrance. The couple were making for what they hoped would be the haven of Dodi's flat by the Arc de Triomphe. As they sped across town, photographers were in pursuit. Their driver, his reactions slowed by booze and pills, lost control of the Mercedes as they traveled at high speed into a short Paris underpass. Diana had been accused of causing trouble in life, but in death she set far greater challenges for palace, politicians, and press.
I was asleep in bed, and the phone rang, and there was a journalist. He said, "I'm sorry," he said, "but Dodi's been killed." I then immediately rang Mohamed at his home in Oxted, and he simply said, "Let's find out, Michael, let's just find out. I'm going to find out. And let us pray that it isn't so."
I got a call from one of our news desks to say that he'd just heard on the grapevine there'd been an accident in France, and it was involving a car carrying Diana and Dodi, but that he thought I should know that it involved paparazzi photographers. And my immediate thought was, oh, this is disaster. It's just going to play into everybody's hands about press intrusion, press harassment. It's going to be a nightmare.
At about the same time, a phone rang inside 10 Downing Street. Britain's ambassador in Paris spoke to the duty clerk. The Prime Minister, away in his constituency in County Durham, was immediately woken for a conference call with his press secretary, Alistair Campbell, and a civil servant. They were told Dodi was dead, but there was as yet no firm news about Diana. Then, around 3 a.m., word filtered through from Paris.
When I received the call saying that Diana had not survived, I was standing in my kitchen. It was like being hit in the solar plexus. I fell on my knees, to my knees. I fell to my knees. And my wife was with me. And we both cried.
The phones to Downing Street were now so busy that the second conference call of the night had to be conducted on mobiles. This, Tony Blair told his press secretary, is going to produce grief on a scale none of us have ever seen.
I was completely stunned like everybody else, and I then watched television for about half an hour and then went into work about 5:30, and it was just a very already funereal atmosphere. Everybody was looking at themselves thinking, God, you know, has the unthinkable happened? Have we finally killed Diana?
The editor of The Sun told me he cried, and I believe him. He, who'd been somewhat critical of Diana in the past, and many journalists have been very critical, felt a blow to the solar plexus. And I think many of them who I spoke to later said that they were shocked at their own reaction, shocked at their shock.
As the world woke up to the news, Tony Blair arrived at his local church. The people are going to need direction, he'd told Alistair Campbell. They must be shown it's okay to grieve. He and his press secretary had worked together in the early hours, trying to find the right words.
She was the people's princess. And that's how she will stay, how she will remain in our hearts and in our memories forever.
Before the royal family's journey to church at Balmoral, both the Queen and Prince Charles had spoken to Tony Blair. He told them he would give any help he could. The palace recognised the new government's public relations skills, and before the morning was out, were to wish they were as sure-footed. The appearance of Princes William and Harry, only hours after their mother's violent death, brought swift criticism.
I was appalled, actually. I'm not appalled that they went to worship or they went to pray, but I was appalled that they had to be taken in such a public way when really, I'm sure that what they wanted to do, those boys, was to sit down at home and cry.